They say no news is good news. 2 weeks into no news since the Rangers named their new manager, we ask the proverbial question, is it? Let's talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast. So the Rangers had, numbers-wise, the best pitching staff in baseball this year. But who was the best of the best? We're going to talk about that during the course of the program. We welcome you into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, the Cat Queen is here. And by the way, we're it in this building today, man. There's a lot going on in sports. You know, you got Mavs games at night, Stars games at night, Cowboys game this weekend. Like, the building here is quiet because it gets loud later and at different times of the day this time of year.
We can do whatever we want.
We can.
Yeah.
And we might. Yeah, look, you don't know us. Yeah. We might go crazy. We might, you know what? One of these Fridays, if it's this quiet, we might even haul off and have an afternoon beer. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't know why we couldn't do it today, John.
We might. Yeah, we might. You know. Yeah. Yep. The Queen's going to go do that right now. We appreciate her, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. Yeah, I just got to thinking about that, and for context, I'm looking at, Jeff, the pitching rotation of the Dodgers.
Pitching rotation of the Dodgers,
and it's pretty good. You know, I mean,
it certainly appears to be. Yeah,
Blake Snell and Yamamoto and Ohtani, and who am I forgetting? You know, I mean,
Glasnow.
Tyler Glasnow. Yeah. So it's really good, and yet, over the course of the season. Now, I realize, you know, Ohtani in particular didn't join the rotation in full ever, I don't think, right? He wasn't.
You know.
I mean, he pitched, but he pitched 3 innings or at the most, that type of thing, right? And Snell's coming off injury, and,
Glasnow's always hurt, so he's coming off
Glasnow's always hurt. So I realize that, who knows? If they had been together and healthy for a whole season, maybe they could have put up better numbers than the Texas Rangers did as a staff, right?
Right.
But they didn't. The Rangers had the lowest team ERA in Major League Baseball, and second place was not the Dodgers. It was the Brewers.
Right.
So I'm just thinking, okay, you got this great pitching staff. And then I'm thinking, oh, there we go.
Oh, man.
Oh,
that's all right.
Good. Get us another one. Yeah. So
I got some things to say to him. I need to build up some courage.
Yeah, that's right. We need to get a couple. We need to get a couple more of the bad juice for Jeff here before it's all said and done. Anyway, so that also then, you know, my brain just kind of keeps doing, you know, leapfrogging. Who was the best Rangers pitcher? And we have to talk about that. And we already see some thoughts about it in the chat. I mean, obviously, it really boils down to 2 guys.
Yeah.
You have 2 aces on this team.
Yeah.
It's Eovaldi and DeGrom. And you can make a case, obviously, for both. So
yeah. Okay. The case for Nathan Eovaldi. ERA below 2. Everything was below, was top of the league. You know, if you have don't put the qualifying restriction on him because he didn't have enough innings. Look at his numbers. They're like, oh my God, this guy was fantastic.
Yes.
Amazing. He was really, really good when he pitched. Now, that's the problem.
Right.
Sometimes, or a lot of times, the best ability is availability.
Yep.
If you haven't heard that one before, I'm not making it up. And so you are like, well, Jacob DeGrom made every start.
Yeah. I mean, they made him sit out one that he didn't want to.
Right.
But he got to 30, which none of us thought was even
Right.
doable, not even a chance.
And then, all right, he gave up a lot of home runs this year. There's no doubt about it. His ERA, thanks to his last outing, he got that bad boy back down under 3. He was the Rangers' lone all-star. And just, when Jacob deGrom is on, there's nothing else like it out there. There really isn't.
No.
It's just spectacular to watch. Now, this year, though, he was not the Rangers' best starting pitcher.
No.
I don't think. I think Eovaldi was just better than him this year, factoring all the things, including the lack of Eovaldi health. I'm still going to go with Eovaldi over deGrom. Now, this is the first year back from Tommy John. The first full season back from Tommy John is often considered the rebound year.
Yes.
And that things are going to get better the next season and the season after that. So I think deGrom next year will be the ace. And I think it'll be close because Eovaldi's a great pitcher, but I think that next season is when Eovaldi won't have the restrictions. I'm sorry, deGrom won't have the restrictions. They won't be trying to limit his innings, and he'll just go out there even more free. And he knows he's healthy. And I think that next year it's going to be a pretty special year for the guy.
I totally agree with all of that. And I will say this, we didn't expect Jacob deGrom to get to 30 starts this year, right? And so he reached that, which was really an unbelievable accomplishment. But the other thing, if you'd have said to me at the beginning of the season, is Nathan Eovaldi going to have an ERA under 2? I just said no.
Right.
There's no, because you look at his history, I think his lowest previous ERA was a 3.63 maybe. Oh, he had a 3.39 in 2013, but yeah, I mean that he wasn't even a full-time player that year. Well, he only threw 106 innings that year. So yeah, it's half basically of what he had ever done before. And that is just an amazing, 1 year. Is it continuing to learn?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, I don't know where that kind of improvement. We always say this, players are allowed to get better. Right?
100%. Yeah.
But my goodness, to go from, even last year or the year before to 1.73, he had, in 23, it was 3.63. Last year, it was 3.8, the ERA. This year,
and went up late last year, and he got it back under control there in his last start. But he said this year that his last season in Boston, he had a back injury, and he had to learn how to pitch without velocity, and he was doing that again this year. But it also told him he had success with his off-speed pitches, so he can trust his off-speed pitches more. He can get outs with a variety of pitches, and he did that this year. So he had the deal in late May that lasted deep into June with the biceps, I think is what they called it, but I think there was some elbow in there, and then he came back and had the rotator cuff thing at the end of August. But he was pitching without velocity, and then we found out, hey, he also had a sports hernia.
Yeah.
So his off-speed stuff was great. Now, if you add in the presumed health this year, maybe he's back. But the point is, you're allowed to get better. He learned late in his career because he's late in his career, even before this first contract with the Rangers.
Yep.
It was on the downhill side.
Yeah.
So he has learned, and then you pair him with a maybe an elite pitching coach, Mike Maddox, and throw in some analytics and some the pitch shapes, and that's Brendan Segar, the former co-pitching coach. That's his deal. He looks and studies these pitch shapes and numbers and all that stuff, and helps these guys get better. So there's just a lot of things here in the last few years that Eovaldi has had access to that have allowed him to get better. He's also been able to pick the mind of Jacob deGrom, and you see those two. They stand by each other every game that they're not starting.
All the time.
They're next to each other talking about the game. Their lockers are next to each other, though separated by the entrance to the showers and the bathroom, but nevertheless, a lot of opportunities for you guys to talk and bounce ideas off each other. And I think that that all adds up. It helps DeGrom too.
Sure.
And I think it all adds up to a good things for Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, for both pitchers. But I will say this, and I agree that Jacob DeGrom is likely to be even better next year than he was this year, and he was great this year, right? However, if Nathan Eovaldi puts up a sub-2 ERA, and I know it's a big if, but he did it this year. If he took all that knowledge, has taken it, and built it into who he is as a pitcher next year, it's going to be tough for even Jacob DeGrom to be better than that next year.
Yeah, no, you're right. And but I know we haven't, we've only seen Jacob throw, what was it, 6 starts in 23, 3 starts, though they weren't really starts in 24, and then a full season this year. So we're at 39 Jacob DeGrom starts plus spring training. This guy hates. I mean, I don't know what would make him happy. I don't know what kind of outing makes him happy.
No. I don't think we've ever heard him say, "Yeah, I pretty much had it all going today."
Yeah. So he is always trying to get better, and I can assure you, I know this for a fact, that the home run thing driving him crazy. And so he's going to work this offseason to ensure that his weakness in 25 is no longer a weakness. And some of it, there was the thought that he was tipping pitches. He switched the glove.
That's right. Yeah.
And
he went back to the other, though, didn't he?
He eventually went back to the other one. He gave up a home run. I can't remember if it was Kerry Carpenter or Zach McKinstry for the Tigers on a fastball that was above the zone. And he said, well, the guy just beat me to the pitch. All right, well, how did he know the pitch was coming? How could he anticipate 100 above the zone? And I don't know that you can. So maybe there was something to that. But I really am looking forward. I was looking forward last year at this time to a full season of Jacob DeGrom. Now I'm looking forward to a full season of Jacob DeGrom in 26 with what should be he should be in his best form.
Yeah, I think so too, because like you said, it's that year after the Tommy John surgery that everybody has, you need that full year. It's not like he regressed in any way.
Right.
But I don't think he was everything he can be. Now, he's going to be, when's his birthday? Is he going to be 38 to start the year?
I think it's a mid-season birthday.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that's right. We got a 38-year-old here in the studio who's just a baby around here. So
June the 19th.
June 19th, he turns 38. And again, you can pitch well we got a 41-year-old in the starting rotation in Toronto, right?
Well, I mean, Nolan Ryan. He's
46.
He's the barometer. And
yeah.
If to furthering this point about being better the next year, the big issue early on with DeGrom was his mechanics.
Yeah.
And there were starts where, and you could tell on the radar gun, if his fastball was 95, 96, he was not happy with his mechanics.
Right.
He didn't want to overthrow, risk injury, and all that stuff. Later in the year, even as he was tiring, he's still pumping 90, 99, 100. And so he needed time to get his mechanics to get into the right place. And when they did, maybe he was tired.
Yeah.
And so the victim of his fatigue was a lack of command.
Sure.
Necessarily. He left a lot of pitches over the middle that got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, and went for home runs.
Right.
Right.
So in theory, keep this all in theory, that stuff will be worked out early in the season. He won't be fighting his mechanics from the start of spring training, really probably into May, I would say, is when he finally was just comfortable in letting it go and stopped talking about it all the time and all of that. So there's a lot to look forward to. And
what were his Cy Young years? 19 was one, right?
18 and 19.
18. In 18, he gave up 10 home runs. 26 this year was not a career high. He gave up 28 home runs in 17. But in 18, he gave up 10, gave up 19 in 2019. But that's one of the things, And again, I'm sure if we went down the list and looked at all the pitchers who were really good, 26 is probably a pretty good number for most of them.
Yeah, and Jacob, has been he's been the litmus test to old school thinking and awards voting and new school thinking. Because in those 2 years that he won the Cy Young, he won a combined 21 games.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 and 19. And so you can do 10 and 18 with a 1.70 ERA. But he led the league in just about everything else. Same thing the next year. And it's like, this guy was great. Oh, but he only won 10 games. How great could he have been? Well, he can't control. You really can't control wins and losses. You need offense and all that stuff. So he's kind of been the litmus test. I think Felix Hernandez might have had a year like that as well. But the point is, this guy's great. He's supposed to get better, and he still is going to be in 5 years after he retires. He's going to be a heck of a case study for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this: 2021 would have been a pretty interesting study if he'd stayed healthy. And I know we got to go, but he had a 1.08 ERA after 15 starts, so essentially half of a season.
Yeah,
he had a 1.08. Okay, more coming up. We have got to get to. Speaking of Jacob deGrom, it's awards season, and one of them has been awarded to a Rangers pitcher named Jacob deGrom. We'll have that and more as we continue. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
We cover the Rangers on this show, and the Rangers are joining with us to help promote some of their items this fall, including the Fall Festival. It's going to rain like hell this weekend, apparently, but temperatures are cooler. You're getting some wind that you're usually from the north that you're usually not used to. Temperatures are dropping. Starbucks is going crazy with pumpkins. So fall is upon us, and next Sunday, so the 2nd, November the 2nd, you can celebrate fall at the Fall Festival at Globe Life Field. Second straight year. We got some new fall-themed activities. Face painting, trick-or-treat stations. It's 2 days after Halloween, and it's a weekend, so I think Halloween extends a few days this year. Costume parties every hour. Starts at noon, so after church, get your butt to Globe Life Field, and don't miss the fall event of the year at the home of the Texas Rangers. Their tickets are on sale right now, globelifefield.com/fall festival, globelifefield.com/fall festival.
And speaking of tickets, you can get tickets to virtually anything from Game Time. That is the ticket app of choice in these parts, and NBA obviously is going to be huge this year. Despite what happened on opening night for the Dallas Mavericks, they are going to be a very exciting, fun team to watch all season long, and you can get your Mavs tickets at Game Time. We'd suggest that you just haul off and take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with our Game Time app. You download the app, you create an account, you use the code DLLS, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms do apply, but just create an account, redeem the code DLLS, and get those $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. It's Game Time, the best app out there. Okay.
Janet's made a couple sharp comments.
Yes.
Extremely fortunate to have two true aces. That's the truth. Holy cow. Not a lot of teams have that. And then she also said, love the growth Jack made this year. Jack Leiter. It was a huge year for him.
It was.
Huge year for the Rangers.
It was.
And
now, he made our little Mount Rushmore that Cat made.
That's right. And he's now gone from, oh boy, what was happening with this guy to, hey,
right.
He's in the rotation.
Somebody in there said ace of the future, and maybe.
Yeah.
There were times he definitely showed that.
Yeah, he still can throw too many pitches, not be very efficient, so he still needs to dial in. Whether that's a command thing, feels like it's more of a control thing. He has some wild misses sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the product of overthrowing or whatever, but it seems like something he needs to clean up. But then again, maybe the occasional wildness helps.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard the term wildly effective. Sometimes that's a legit thing. But anyway, good for Jack.
Yeah, good on him. And I've said it many times during the season. But one of the things I like best about his development is we talked about how DeGrom and Eovaldi stand there at the rail of the dugout every game when they're not pitching and just talk through everything. You know, they talk baseball, and often kind of right between them is, you know, their little brother kind of, figure in Jack Leiter, just like, lapping it all up.
Yeah.
And I think it's just fantastic. I love that he does.
And they learn a lot just from watching the games.
Sure.
Like if it's the opener of the series and you're pitching the finale, you get two games to watch the hitters and figure out what works against them and what doesn't. And so then by the finale, you have a really good, your own good scouting report, plus what Mike Maddox is going to get.
Yeah, and I do agree with Bruce there. He needs to stay in control when he gets 0-2 or 2 strikes in any count. He had trouble with that third strike during the course of the year. And there were some games he made progress. There were some steps forward on that. But that's something he'll continue to work on. And no doubt, that's not like that one eluded Mike Maddox and the rest of the pitching coaches. They know exactly what needs to be done there. The Sporting News Awards are out. And, it's a big one. I mean, it's not the official awards, but it's still a big one. And the player of the year, according to the Sporting News, the player of the year in Major League Baseball, Cal Raleigh, which I agree with. I believe he's your MVP in the American League.
Really?
Over Aaron Judge.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
even over Aaron Judge.
All right.
Yeah. But the one that's of most interest to us, and we'll run through the rest of the list, but of most interest to us is the American League Comeback Player of the Year, Jacob deGrom of your Texas Rangers. It's funny, you mentioned it just the other day, and we were like, it's first I'd thought of it. Of course it's him.
Yeah.
Right? There's really not even any other candidate. I shouldn't say that, but he's a runaway candidate.
Yeah. And I don't know who picks it for league for the league. It might just be MLB who does it because the writers don't vote on it. At least
okay.
I've never voted for it.
Okay.
But it does seem like it's a layup.
Yeah, I agree. And it says, the write-up here says it may not have been the historically good version of deGrom that took the mound with the New York Mets in 18, 19, and 21. But it's everything the Rangers could have hoped for from him, and it could help. It says could help, Jeff, get him into the Hall of Fame when all is said and done. I think we've talked about this. I think he needs a really good year this year in order to secure and cement that Hall of Fame candidacy. Yeah. And then maybe, obviously, beyond that, we would hope.
Well, everybody talks about longevity of career, all right? But the number one exception to that is Sandy Koufax.
Yes.
Who, wasn't a great pitcher when he first came up.
No.
In the middle 50s, he was wild and out of control. And but then from like 60 to 66, unbelievable, right? Really starting in 62, even if you want to narrow it down, he had 5 unbelievable seasons. Mm-hmm. Just 5 dominant, holy crap, this guy's the best pitcher we've ever seen season.
3 Cy Youngs in that time, right?
Yeah, and 3 no-hitters in a perfect game.
Yeah.
Pitching in the World Series on 2 days rest.
Yeah.
Crazy things like that. Of course, injuries, after 66, he was done. His 61 season was pretty good, but he never pitched to an ERA below 3 until 62.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, Sandy Koufax, he won 165 games, different era, 2.76 ERA, 2,300 innings, and 2,300, almost 2,400 strikeouts. Okay, so deGrom, 96 wins, 2.57 ERA, 1,500 innings, 1,850 strikeouts. So, does he need a couple seasons? I mean, obviously he won the 2 Cy Youngs, so those are great seasons.
Yep.
Right? Well, his 16 season was injury shortened. 15 was really good. 30 starts, 2.54 ERA. And then, this season might be his 5th best season of his career.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
And he can do better. So
yeah.
Is Jacob deGrom going to be this generation's Sandy Koufax?
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, although the big picture longevity of the career will be much greater, but there were so many years within where he couldn't.
Right.
23 and most of 24.
Right.
Most of 23 and most of 24, just by the nature of the timing of the necessity for Tommy John, which came in like late April or early May of 23, and that kept him out until the very end of the 24 season. That's 2 seasons in your prime.
Yeah.
That you just didn't have an opportunity to pitch in. So that's tough. And ironically, just today I saw a picture of Sandy Koufax from the 60s sometime, hanging his left arm in a tub full of ice cubes, water, and he wrapped it around put the inner tube from a tire there because he'd put it in there for like an hour after a game just to keep the swelling down. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, our treatment of things like that were so crude back then, but he just knew, man, after I throw a game, my elbow really hurts. They said, well, put it in ice. But he wanted to get out of the game before some doctor told him this, if you could have a permanent effect negatively on your health. So
yeah.
He said, okay, well, I'm going to stop playing then.
Yeah, there's a pretty good story. One of the Dodgers World Series appearance in the middle 70s, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, one of them. Sandy Koufax is throwing BP before one of the games, and he's like striking everybody out.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
And so they had to take him out of BP because he was
nobody could
make solid contact, and they were swinging. It's batting practice. And he wasn't, blazing it in there, but the movement or whatever, they couldn't touch him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. He was so humble about it too. In this story I read this morning, when after he stopped playing, he met who became his wife, and he didn't tell her until like it said they were a month into their relationship who he was. She didn't know. And then of course she hadn't told him who she was. I guess she was the daughter of somebody who was a famous actor in the 50s and 60s or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of had this keeping things from each other, and then they wound up being married forever. So that was cool. The National League Comeback Player of the Year, Christian Yelich, I believe that too. He
the back injury, sure.
Yeah, he was the offense, the stalwart on offense of a Brewers team that was, not a connected team, but not necessarily a powerful team. Jeff.
Yeah, but he's their best player,
right?
And he had a really slow start to the season.
Yeah,
know this because he's on my fantasy team. But by the end, and his series against the Rangers, he didn't have like a ton of hits.
Okay.
But he was just murdering everything.
Okay.
It was like, God, not this guy, not now. It'd be like 107 mile per hour line out to the wall at center field. So it was pretty interesting. But good for him. He's a heck of a player.
Dan Wilson is the American League Manager of the Year. I don't have a problem with that.
That's fine. Yeah,
yep.
I'm all right with it.
And Pat Murphy.
Although, I mean, I do have a problem with it. John Schneider should be the Manager of the Year. The guy was about to get fired.
True. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I buy that. Yep.
All right.
do.
Got a problem.
Pat Murphy, Brewers.
That one's hard to argue.
And their MLB, the Executive of the Year is their guy, Matt Arnold, who today just was named, promoted and named President of Baseball Operations.
That's right. Pobo and GM.
Yeah.
Working dual titles.
Yeah.
Milwaukee works on a budget, so.
Yep. He schedules the janitors. Yeah. American League Rookie of the Year, Nick Kurtz.
Obvious.
Yeah.
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 I can't say who I voted for on that.
But
that was my award this
year.
Your
votes don't
Our votes have anything to do with that.
Yeah, yours are the official ones, yeah.
Right.
And then the National League Rookie of the Year is Cade Horton of the Cubs. So anyway, there you go. That's your list, I think, of all of them for this year. So, the awards season has begun. The awards, the likes of which Jeff votes for, which are the Baseball Writers Association awards, they don't come out until after the World Series, right?
Yeah, middle November is when they're going to be announced.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to see. And so you voted for American League Rookie of the Year?
That was my award this year.
Okay, yeah, got that one. So that's cool. We'll be anxious to see, and we'll ultimately pick apart Jeff's ballot, no doubt. He's good about showing it. So Yeah, we'll do it. We'll talk about it. So that's that. Look at there. We're on time. How about that? That's that. We've got more coming up as we talk series. There's a lot to talk about. Game 1 is tonight of this World Series, much anticipated. We'll talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast. Hey, have you thought about joining the Supporters Club? If you haven't, you should. There is lots to gain from the Supporters Club, and we appreciate any and all of you who have, and we appreciate any and all of you who will. $5 or $15 to become a member and get exclusive access to those emojis you see on the screen and to so much more, including the sicko level type stuff that we do behind the scenes. We're gonna one of these days, and even the skipper's on board with us doing a day in the life of Cat. That's the kind of stuff we're gonna put behind this. I guess this small pay. Like, this is a paywall a baby could jump. It's $15. It's not a huge paywall to get into that. To get into that Supporters Club. So that stuff will be behind the paywall. We've got all of us talking about various things in our lives. Jeff and I have done a couple of those. We're going to continue to do more. And the other teams, the Mavs, the Stars, and the Cowboys all do the same thing. Join the Supporters Club if you would today.
Yeah, and this one don't cost nothing, as Senator John Blutarski says early in Animal House. The newsletter, sign up for it. Go to our homepage at alldls.com. Go to the very bottom where you have that little banner ad, and it'll say, hey, the newsletter, sign up. You just put in your email. It's real easy. You get snippets, thumbnails, if you will, from Ali, who's been doing a fantastic job since he joined us. Apparently, beyond our 4 teams that we have written content of and daily shows, Ali will sneak some Wings news in there. Yeah, they just hired a coach.
They hired a coach
recently.
Yeah,
which I did not know that. So again, just give us your email address. That's all we want, and you will get this handy dandy newsletter to help make you a better sports fan.
The World Series rosters have been announced. Clayton Kershaw is on the Dodgers World Series roster. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd love to see Clayton Kershaw start against Max Scherzer. Wouldn't that be fun? Like old time.
Be fun.
What was the game? It was supposed to be Greg Maddux against somebody else, like then otherworldly, and they both got hurt, and it ended up being 2 young kids named Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw.
That's
right?
pretty good.
And the place was sold out.
So it probably would have been. Maddox's year at the Dodgers. Okay. And who was he supposed to fit? Maybe Randy Johnson.
Oh, I think it
late
might
in
have
his
been.
career.
I bet it was Randy Johnson versus Greg Maddux, and these 2 young kids pitched instead because both of the old guys were hurt or hobbled at least. So pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty fun. I'm glad Clayton Kershaw's on there. He said it's his last year playing Major League Baseball, and then he'll come right back here to North Texas, and he'll do a lot of good, as he has already done with his wife, with his family. He's just a great young man, and he's been such a wonderful ambassador for our game. So awesome. Bo Bichette is on the World Series roster for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
We figured he would be.
Yeah.
And I, the big question is still going to be, I heard this discussion today on MLB on the radio network. How do you use him, if you're John Schneider? It's almost for sure he's not going to be in the field. So then, but do you put him in the lineup today, even if, starting with game 1, just because his bat, his presence has an effect, even if he's rusty, right? Even if he can't quite catch up, whatever. Pitchers have to be careful, right? They have to pitch him carefully.
Yeah. He's a right-handed hitter. And,
yes, against lefty.
Against Blake Snell, who I'm assuming he's seen a few times in his career.
Yep.
So I would think that's an easy one. They were talking about saving him for the field until the series goes on the road to the Dodgers. And he was taking ground balls at second base, which he hasn't played since Class A ball.
No kidding.
But his manager was John Snyder
in Class A.
Yeah. Oh. So maybe there's a little familiarity there. That probably will limit the playing time of Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
Right.
Because I think you probably if Bichette is able to play shortstop, then Jimenez, who's a really good defensive second baseman, moves over to second. And even if Bichette has to play second, then I still think Jimenez stays in the lineup because he's probably a little bit better hitter. But maybe there's a little platoon future there. I'm not sure, but Bichette needs to be on that roster.
Yeah, he really does, and he needs to be that presence in the lineup. I'd hate to see IKF or Kiner as I think it was it Annie that called him Kiner?
Yeah.
Somebody called him Kiner. I'd love to see. I mean, I've loved to see Isaiah Kiner-Falefa do well, which he did in the ALCS. Came up with a couple of big hits.
Yeah, I like Isaiah a lot, and he's a pretty fun story. He's a 4th round pick from Hawaii, and never had any power at all whatsoever. I even remember he had a home run in a spring training game. What? This guy's never hit a home run before, and then he hit a couple in Frisco, and he started catching a little bit and all this stuff. All of a sudden, he's in the major leagues, then he wins a Gold Glove. He always had a chip on his shoulder, and he said that Hawaiians just come by that naturally.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was he won the Gold Glove. So then 21, he just couldn't understand. He was flummoxed by it, why he wasn't among the top vote getters for the All-Star game. I don't want to say, well, you're not that good,
right?
But I didn't. But he's a good guy,
and he won it.
And I really like right? He won the Gold Glove at third. Yeah, because that was Beltre retired in 18, so then 19 they had Asdrubal Cabrera for most of the year. I remember 20. I can't imagine that Isaiah started at third base to start the year, but. He was there at the end, and he made some great plays, no question about it.
Yeah. I remember we were all like, "Wow, okay, Kiner's at third, that's fine." Others from the former Rangers who will be involved, of course, include on that team the Blue Jays, Max Scherzer, who right now is still penciled in to start Game 4.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Especially the way he was. With that attitude, that bulldog attitude, telling John Schneider to go away and all that in his ALCS game. I mean, if he brings that Max Scherzer to the mound, I'd love to see that against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and he pitched for the Dodgers for a little while there, and so he knows the ballpark and all of that stuff. So, maybe why not? I mean, the Blue Jays aren't exactly blessed with a lot of options, and they're starting to. A rookie, the youngest pitcher, Yasevich, is the youngest pitcher to start a World Series game in 78 years. So 78 years, I was trying to do the math, and I'm no good at that. That gets you back into 40.
Well, yeah, we've got on our phones, we actually have calculators.
47
right here,
World Series.
25 minus 78.
47 World Series.
47. 19. I know. I saw that same stat, and I went through trying to look up who the heck the younger guy was.
Yeah,
because he's the second youngest. I assume whoever pitched in 47.
Well, let's take a look.
Was actually younger. See if you can find that.
The Yankees against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Imagine that. Who could have guessed that was going to be?
They played each other, in the World Series. Well, a little Subway Series.
Wow. Yeah. Who could have imagined that one? Possibly. Well, that's interesting. I like. Max's time was short and injury interrupted with us. But I liked the guy. He seemed like a good dude, and I had no issues with him. He knew his body well, and and then of course he was funny and affable and enjoyed talking to the media. Okay, great. And that led me to think of this. The Rangers have had a lot of Hall of Fame pitchers pitch for them. They've never won the Cy Young with the Rangers, but Fergie, Gaylord Perry, Bert Blyleven, Nolan, DeGrom, and Scherzer. I might be missing some, but it's pretty. That's
That's a who's
pretty
who.
interesting. Yeah,
it really
you know
is.
those guys.
It really is. Others who are former Rangers who are a part of this World Series include the third base coach, Jeff, of the Los
First
Angeles.
base. He's the first base coach. Yeah.
The first base coach now of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Chris Woodward, who we heard from on the show yesterday. Woody.
Yeah. He was on the 18 team that lost. 18 team, yeah, that lost to the Red Sox. And the Rangers waited until the end of the World Series before they, I guess, had him in town to interview him. They had done a phone interview with him on an off day. So that's why the Rangers hiring of Jeff Bannister's replacement was delayed, because
had to wait until after the World Series.
That's right. Had to wait to talk to Chris Woodward.
We got a
Super
chat from T.O. $10. Thank you, T.O. Keep seeing Schwarber is on the Rangers' radar. The skipper was saying the same thing. It would be a dream and no problem hitting home runs in this park. He is an older player, DH, not going to tax his body. Is any of this possible? It continues to be out there. And our boss, T.O., the skipper, Ben, I think he threw it in the chat one day, and he's talked to us about it. I don't see the Rangers spending that much money on a guy like Schwarber when they're cutting their payroll, right? They intend to cut their payroll. And when Chris Young, is sort of in that mood or whatever to spend money in general, he wants to get pitching. So I don't know. I don't think Schwarber is realistic to the Rangers. Jeff, you?
No, I'm with you. And there are a few reasons. The money is number one. Now he would probably be the leadoff hitter, right? Didn't he bat leadoff a lot for the Phillies? Yeah. So hey, take care of that problem because he gets on base and he hits a lot of home runs. The Rangers obviously offensively deprived. Sorry. And then, but then what are you going to do at that point with Jock Peterson?
Right.
And there's no comparison. I'm not.
No.
Don't get me wrong there.
Yeah, it's just
the money. And again, your bench becomes not completely, but it becomes much less flexible if you have a guy that can't run, can't really hit, can't play anywhere in the field on the bench in Jock Peterson. So I can't see the Rangers getting in on Schwarber without addressing Peterson somehow.
Yeah.
And also without probably trading like Simeon,
Right, another big,
Yeah.
And then, well, I guess you could maybe move Cody Freeman in at second, but you've got to figure out who plays second base if you move Simeon out. But that would be down the road. But anyway, I'd love it. I'd love to see Kyle Schwarber.
He seems like a great guy.
He really does, doesn't he? Yeah, he seems
he's
like
a former catcher, and then the Cubs how about you go play left field because you're not really that good of a catcher.
Yeah.
He's a terrible left fielder. He could probably play first base better than Peterson.
But they've got a guy they like at first who has a history with the manager now.
Yeah.
So I think first base is no longer a question mark or a thought, at least not until Jake Berger proves he can't do it, which I think he can.
Yeah.
And I don't think he will prove that he can't. But if he did do that, then perhaps. But
and I'll caution everybody also because All About Sports Zone said everyone is on their radar. I saw Castellanos and Duran.
I saw the Duran.
Duran, I think he has a really friendly team option. So I don't know that the Red Sox are going to be looking to get rid of him. But anyway, these national writers who are all great guys, and I really like them a lot, including Feinsand, Jeff Passan, Bob Nightingale, Kenny, and John Heyman. They're all really good guys, and they're plugged in, obviously. But sometimes they just either don't read what we write as the beat writers, or they forget about it and don't recognize that the Rangers aren't going over the luxury tax, and they're going to have, they're just not going to spend like they have in the past. So take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt. And of course, they could call somebody with the Rangers and like, what do you think about Schwarber? Well, I love Schwarber. They're like, oh, well, he's on the radar.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, and so anyway.
And they have those conversations about almost everybody every day. I mean, that's what GMs do and presidents of baseball operations. So it'd be wonderful. We'd love it, but I don't think it's going to happen. He would, to your follow-up, T.O., he would be great in the room.
Oh, yeah.
He would be, I think he'd be that guy in the room, which would be awesome. But, hey, it's fun. It's fun to think about, fun to dream about. Let's see if it happens. The Rangers have surprised us before.
Yeah.
More coming as we continue this first day of the World Series. We've got to get to more World Series thoughts, and we'll also get to the rest of our cleanup segment next. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
Die Hard time, $79.99 for a year. That's $6.50 a month, and that's less than one Bud Light at most bars these days.
Yep.
So do it. I mean, you get access to all of the stuff that we put behind the paywall, which is the vast majority of the stuff, and it's all worth reading. Ron, our new Mavs guy, is pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
The Stars, I think they've lost 4 in a row.
Yes, they have.
Panicked there. Cowboys, they're playing my Broncos where they haven't won in like 33 years.
I mean, they haven't won against the Broncos since 95 and in Denver since 92.
Yeah, well,
I was on the beat then.
That streak will continue this after Sunday. Anyway,
wow.
You get 20% off of our stuff, early access to events. There's no reason to not do it because it'll make you cooler, yes, and smarter.
Yes.
So become a diehard today.
You might as well be smart and cool if you can be, and that's one way to do it. Another way to look smart and cool is just like Jeff and I do, wear these shirts that come from the merchandise department of ALLCITY. You go to store.allcitynetwork.com. That's where you get these cool shirts, and you don't have to pay much for them, and they're nice. They're good quality. You pick the kind you like. I like the ones where the whatever is written on here, like Dallas versus all y'all. I like the ones that pop, like that one in the middle on the bottom. But I, of course, love the Nolan Ryan one. I love them all. So anyway, we wish that you would do that because you would, again, look smart and cool, and you'd be supporting us and let everybody know that you are a fan of DLLS. That's where we are. And that's where you are today, too. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We also, we appreciate T.O. saying he loves that we're sitting here crushing a couple of beers during the show. Why not? Why not? It's Friday.
It is Friday. And to his question about what would a Schwarber contract look like, it just typed it in on the old Google machine. And ESPN had 20 responses from their panel, and I haven't cared to look at who is on their panel. 2 said under $100 million, which I don't see it happening. 11, 100 to 125 million. 3 years, 100, 4, 100, 4, 110 twice. 2 over 200 million. 6 and 200, 7, 245. So he's going to be 33 at the start of next season. Again, he's very limited in the things he can do beyond hitting home runs. But this year he had he made improvements with average. He was really good against left-handers, which is important because he's a left-handed hitter. So his numbers this year, let's take a look. He ended up falling off there, about a 240. So he's a 231 career hitter. Gets on base, obviously hits the heck out of it. 46, 47, 38, and 56 home runs since joining the Phillies. Some of that park effects, possibly. What does that look like here? He will strike out a lot. 200, 215, 197, 197. So
that's Joey Gallo.
You're looking all or nothing here. Walks 86, 126, 106, 108. So he is a three true outcomes kind of guy.
Yep, he really is. But I like that first outcome a lot. I mean, that's a good one. That's a good trick in this ballpark. So very cool. And to the other point that T.O. was making, or question he was asking about there, it sounds like from that ESPN thing that it's a short-term deal, right? We're not looking at a 7-year contract. They were 3s and 4s is what we heard, which makes sense for a 33-year-old hitter. I mean, generally the shelf life's a little shorter there than it is for a pitcher.
I mean, he has proven to be durable. You know, 155, 160, 150. He played every game this season. So he'll be on the field, which is cool. Or he'll be in the lineup. How about that? So I don't know. That's a tough one. A short-term deal, of course. All teams love short-term deals. But what does that look like if at age 38? What does that look like?
And all it takes is one team to say, "Well, we'll give you 5." Right.
Exactly.
And then boom, done. He's taking 5.
Yeah.
So
and that's just it. I've always been told, not always, but recently I've been told that you don't want to go above the age 38 season in any deal. Now the Rangers did it with DeGrom.
Yep.
But I think he might be an exception to the rule. But that's why you see these guys at age 38 becoming free agents, because they're long-term deals. The clubs have some concern about what happens after 38.
Is there just 1 year after this season on the DeGrom deal?
There's an option as well.
There is an option as well. There could be 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's cool, Natalie. Thanks for your thoughts on the Stars. I agree. I'm hoping I love Gully. I was on the Stars beat when Gully was there the first time, so I'm hoping for good things for my man Gully there. So ceremonial first pitches, game 1 tonight in Toronto. Cito Gaston, fantastic. Manager that led them to 2 World Series wins, and they've only been in the World Series twice.
Yeah,
and they won it both times. And there's only one team that won their first 3 trips to the World Series in the history of baseball.
Is that right?
Boston Red Sox won their first 5. Actually.
Oh,
yeah.
In
back
6,
in 97, 18. No. Anyway, game 2, Joe Carter, the hero from those 2 World Series teams. So that's the ceremonial first pitches. Now, the media thoroughly enjoys covering the big event like the World Series. But as Jeff indicated yesterday, when you mix in Shohei Ohtani in particular, who's an A+, AAA, AAA rated A-star in Japan, but you also have Yamamoto and Sasaki, the Japanese media probably numbers the same or perhaps outnumbers the American media.
Yeah, and don't discount the media from
Canada.
Latin America and then Canada this year.
Canada's going to have more of a presence, obviously, this year. So this is what that looks like in the stadium in Toronto. It's crowded. Take a look at this picture. Kat's got it over there. And
Here she comes.
She's got it.
Coming in hot.
Stalling. There we go. Look at that. Is that the concourse?
That's the service level.
That is the service level, and they've got a curtain up, and they're just standing in line. I mean, face to face, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. That is tough.
I am glad I wasn't there. I don't like going to Toronto in the first place, just because of the customs.
Yeah,
Toronto's fine, but yeah, the media availability for the Rangers in 23 was in that area where the Whataburger is now at the ballpark in Globe Life Field.
Yeah,
a lot of space. You get around pretty good. Other World Series and the Rangers in 10, they did it outside in left field on like the third deck concourse.
That's right.
So it was kind of crazy. But they'll, this is a big day. This is the day that yesterday was the day you talk to all of them, get everybody, and then you throw in 3 Japanese players. The crowd around Ohtani specifically was outrageous. I don't even know. I wouldn't have even tried. In the first place.
I saw some young woman who used to work for Yes Network and now calls herself the Gen X baseball person or whatever. But she said, "Well, I got one question in on the Ohtani press conference. Can I retire now? Because that's a fight. you get one in on Ohtani, or that's a fight at this World Series.
Well, and the problem is you can't get out.
Right.
Because I did. There were winter meetings. I think it was in Orlando. I don't remember what year. And the annual Boris powwow. I was in front, and I just really wanted to ask. It might have been like 13 or 12. I wanted to ask about. It would have been 13 going into 14. I think. I wanted to ask about Chu, and something else. Anyway, I couldn't get out, and so I just had to sit there. Hey, all the New York writers asked about every one of their Boris clients and the Chicago guys too. I'm just sitting there like, all right, I got my questions in. Can I please get the hell out of here? And the answer was no.
No, you can't. And that's bad enough. At least in the case of a Boris one in general, you can understand ultimately all the questions are asked. One year when I was doing Fox Sports Southwest, we also did Fox Sports Houston. So I was in Atlanta covering the NBA All-Star game in like Yao Ming's rookie year. And so I went up to the front, same thing. I got to be close with my microphone so I can get some interview questions with Yao Ming, and I got mine done pretty quickly. And then started the Chinese. And I got nothing. I mean, just like eyes rolling back in my head. I got to get over there. I got to interview Dirk. Where's Steve Nash?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was crazy. So I know exactly what you're saying. You can't get out of there. Here's Niagara Falls, as Jeff mentioned. One year he flew into Buffalo to go to Toronto.
Right.
And you go right past Niagara Falls, and you might as well stop. It's the eighth wonder of the world, one of the eight wonders of the world.
It's spectacular.
It's unbelievable. And if you go, and it ain't cheap, ride the Maid of the Mist.
It's scary.
Do yourself a favor. It's cool as heck. And it is
I didn't do that, but my Niagara Falls is scary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so powerful. I can't imagine these guys that went over it in a barrel and all that stuff. And there's pictures of all that in their various museums. But this is what Niagara Falls will look like on Friday and Saturday night. They're painting it blue, Jeff, for the Blue Jays, because, again, it's right there. I mean, lots of people fly into Toronto to go. And, by the way, the Canadian side of Niagara Falls is much better than the American side relative to nicer restaurants, nicer hotels, stuff like that. It's really, really nice. I think the view from the American side might be better, but the retail and all that stuff is better on the Canadian side.
The thing that surprised me was before the water falls, how fast it moves.
Oh, on that river.
Yeah.
When last time we stayed with my family, wife and kids, I went out for a little run along, just above that. The river ran up the river, ran back down. And it's like, oh my gosh, it is.
That river's hauling ass.
Hauling before it gets there. And I think that's one of those things, right? If you're in a canoe and you're kind of like, peacefully going, whoa, you got to back up, you got to get out of there because you're going down. Very cool. Let's see. The Colorado team has named finalists, Jeff, in their search for a president of baseball operations.
Oh.
And unfortunately, our guy Thad Levine.
No Thad, huh?
I'm sorry about that. So that's unfortunate.
That's sucky.
Yeah, I hate that. I really do, because I really would love for Thad to get that job and hope and think he will get another one. And we wouldn't mind not having him in the podcast space.
Right.
We don't need Thad out there competing with
I think Thad can be choosy too. He doesn't have to take any job.
No.
The Colorado job made sense just because of his history with them. And, but anyway, that's too bad. Yeah,
I'm sorry about that too. Jerry DiPoto had a media gathering here recently.
Oh, good.
Yeah, told the beat writers and the media in Seattle that the priority of the offseason is keeping Josh Naylor.
Interesting.
I thought so too. Notice he didn't mention Suarez.
Correct.
Right? So I think he would have if that were. And so it's not. So that probably means Suarez is going to be available. But perhaps a lot of people would love to see Josh Naylor here. A lot of people would love to see Josh Naylor on their team. Maybe, just maybe, they're not going to get that chance. We'll see.
Yeah. Suarez started out so hot, and he had a really good end to his season. in 24 with the Diamondbacks. This year for the Seattle Mariners in the regular season, he only hit 185. And 13 of his 49 home runs, struck out 79 times in 201 at bats. So that's more than 33%. So I can see that, and I do wonder. And I kind of said it going in. I wondered if Suarez had like a mental block about the field
there
because he'd played there previously, and was only 2 seasons, but they weren't great seasons. And he struck out 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Didn't have show as much power. So I just kind of wondered if there was something. But you put him in hitter's park like he was to begin his career in Cincinnati, and he hit 56 home runs in 2021. That's a lot of home runs.
Yep.
So we'll see where he ends up this offseason.
Well, the Dodgers are 9-1 in the postseason thus far. A couple of our favorites in the chat, T.O. and Rarities, feel like that the Dodgers are going to finish this postseason at 13-2 and lose just 1 game. No, I guess that'd be 2 games. So,
well, I'm rooting for the Blue Jays.
Me too.
I think it's just the best outcome for baseball.
Yeah. Yep. I do too. I hope it happens. It'll be fun, and we'll be here to talk about it all next week, maybe all next week. I do think if the Blue
Jays be a couple days next week.
Yeah. I think if the Blue Jays are going to win, they need to extend it. So we will be hoping for that. That's going to do it for another week. We appreciate you hanging out with us each and every day. We're back next week, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock on 5 more editions of the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.